Hi, I'm Zoe Shackleton and I'm the Head of HR and EDI at the Football Club, and I am delighted to be joined here by a special guest, Lydia Loughran. So Lydia, June is Pride Month, and I'm delighted to have you with me today to talk about everything that we do in the club around LGBTQ plus inclusion. So I just wanted to ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So we have our LGBTQ plus group, which is Proud About Town. So really interested to hear your thoughts about why you wanted to join that group.
Yeah, so I've been a proud kind of LGBT person for a couple of years now, and obviously this place is a big part of my identity as well. So I really wanted to feel like you can come to football and feel out and proud as well, which hasn't always been the case. It's not always been a safe space for people, so really wanted to be part of something that changed that for people. Created safer spaces and answered a lot of questions for allies as well, because allies I think are a big part of town. Being a Terrier ally, being a proud at Sainsbury's and proud at kind of town ally, because that's a big part of my identity as well. So I do the same stuff for Sainsbury's, and I wanted to do that and help that with town.
So can you tell us a bit more about what you've been doing in Sainsbury's? Because I know you've done some amazing work there and won some awards, I believe.
Yeah. So I started off in my Sainsbury's kind of career very introverted, very kind of closeted. I really didn't know who I was, and I found this community of people that helped me discover that in a really safe space. And so through that, kind of came out and had a really good kind of reaction with Pride at Sainsbury's, and they asked me to kind of help. So I've done like loads of videos, posters, all sorts of stuff. Attended my first Leeds Pride, and also was privileged to attend the British LGBT Awards. I think it was 2019. We won the Tesco's Awards, which is always a bit controversial. But just having that identity and seeing like 400 northern LGBT people from Sainsbury's, seeing the lanyards, that's some of the things that we've done as well, having the kind of pins and lanyards, seeing people in shops wearing those lanyards and having that kind of space for people to ask questions, because I think that's the biggest thing that when I was first kind of learning about LGBT identity, you've got so many questions and you're terrified of asking them in the wrong way, especially with like different identities and orientations. So yeah, Sainsbury's has been massive in my journey personally, but also helping loads of other people just be comfortable asking questions, being curious. And then we were also nominated for the kind of top network of the year as well in this British LGBT Awards this year as well. So yeah, fingers crossed for that.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. You're doing some amazing work. How long have you been a Huddersfield Town fan?
Oh wow, that's a big question. I remember sitting over in the stand over there when I was about 10 years old. So my dad's from London, we moved up north, and he just wanted to kind of see some football. So he's a Chelsea fan, which is not going well for them either, I think, at the minute. But I remember being sat, I think we were in League One, and sat over there with a blanket on the knee with my brother and everyone. And it was just a really family orientated place. So ever since then we've come. And then recently when we were kind of getting the playoffs, we kind of started our season ticket back up again and started getting that identity. And then since then really I've been a strong season ticket holder. My mum comes now as well, so she's a proud townie, and I never thought that would happen, but it is the magic of this place. It's the people that you sit next to, the your fellow season ticket holders that you see every week, and when somebody's not there you go, where's so and so, and just the magic of like the day out and the town. So yeah, been townie for a while.
Fantastic. So what would you say it's like in terms of being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, in terms of being a football supporter as well? Do you see anything that you think is kind of not okay, that might be discriminatory, homophobic, transphobic? What's that experience been like for you?
There's kind of two things really. So the first time I came to a game, I was actually with my brother, and he's a proud gay man as well. And I felt his anxiety, like I felt his uncomfortable uncomfort, and nobody would have known, like nobody would have kind of sensed that, but I knew him and I could feel like, he was stressed. And when I asked him about that, that was about It's very masculine sport. It's a very kind of male-dominated environment, and if you feel uncomfortable with that, you're already uncomfortable before you've even sat down, and that's not to anyone's discredit of they haven't even said anything or they haven't even made him feel that way, but already in your mind that's the way you feel before you've even entered the stadium. So I think sometimes language is really important. So I've been sat in probably this very stand and heard people in the passion of the moment, and I've done it as well, when don't agree with a referee decision or something like that, you throw words out that you don't always mean. You don't always know what that means to people around you. So I've heard discriminatory language and things like that. To be fair to Town, not very often, but it's always in the heat of the moment, and I know that person doesn't mean it. But I think Town is a real safe space in terms of it's such a friendly atmosphere. It's such a supportive kind of supportive place. And funny enough, my stepdad was talking about Proud at Town, and he was saying, "Oh, my stepdaughter's involved in it." And just to the person next to him, and he was like, "A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have said about the LGBTQ plus kind of community." And he was having a real good chat with the guy, and he was like, "Oh, my son's gay, and he's really involved in that kind of community and stuff." There is another side to it, I think, in terms of where things haven't been nice. So I was fortunate enough to go to Leeds Pride last year. There was a Leeds game on the same day, and that already makes you feel a bit uncomfortable. Leeds fans coming into the station with people that, they're very different types of people. And I was going on the train back to Huddersfield and had all my Pride kind of gear on, and there was another young girl that had all her Pride gear on, and some of the Leeds fans were particularly unpleasant to the point where we moved carriages and we reported it to the club. And on social media and stuff like that, and that's the bit that brings you home. That's 2023, and we should be two groups of people that are very passionate about our identity and our, pride for what that makes up it. And it's those kind of experiences that bring you right back down to why we need pride in 2024.
Well, we are never going to sit here and say that we've got everything sewn up and it's perfect, and there's nothing untoward that happens in our environment, but clearly that's not what we want, and that's, to your point, that's why we have groups like Proud About Town and other supporter groups to try to actually make a difference and make that experience better. You're actually one of the first members of Proud About Town, so what would you say to anybody else who might be thinking about, kind of being involved in the group? What more can we do to encourage people like yourselves to come forward and work with us?
The hardest step is the first one, like reaching out, and I remember just sending the email going, I don't know whether this is going to come up or anything, but your response was kind of probably the best thing. So you didn't leave it, and you were instantly like, yes, I would love to, have it. And that's that kind of warm hug that you want on that response. So I think in terms of if you're thinking about getting involved, if you're an LGBTQ plus, member of the community, 100% do, because you will not regret it. Because not only are you doing something good for yourself, but you're doing it for your community. There will be other people within the stadium that are thinking, oh, it'd be great if these two bits of my identity could be in the same space. But more than that, I think allies are really important. And I think people will think, oh, well, I'm not a member of, I'm not gay and I'm not a member of that community. But allies are more important sometimes, because they make spaces safe. They kind of, if somebody's wanting to kind of enter a room, or they think they're a bit frightened, or they just want to have somebody, you bring somebody with you bring a friend, and I think that's the most important thing about allyship. So my mum wears her pin badge, she worked for the NHS and wore her lanyard, and I kind of showed her the importance of, you have a massive responsibility to kind of show up in those spaces as well. So if you are thinking about it, definitely come down and have a chat, reach out to me on social media, because I think you can make this space something really special, and you can have fun. Like the whole point of it is educating, having fun, and having a community, like a social community. This is all about being there for Town, and we as a group, and you see it with like the Arsenal groups, the Manchester United groups, and I think a couple of other places in the Championship and in and around that have really good LGBT plus groups now, so that it's not as frightening as it might be. It's just that first step is always the hardest, so if you can do that, then you'll never regret it.
That's brilliant. How important do you think it is that Proud About Town is kind of represented by supporters, probably more so than staff, people like me?
It's a really good question. I think when you can see from the first post that you put on for Pride Month, where you get supporters and people, I've seen around the ground going, when's straight month, when's all these kind of things, and it's that kind of commentary that isn't helpful. Everybody is part of the conversation, whether that is about sexual orientation, gender identity, race, religion, gender, because you can't forget that there's so many other kind of bits around diversity, and that makes up Huddersfield, and the LGBT community is a big part of Huddersfield. It has history in Huddersfield.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, lots of history, and that should be represented in the club. And I think that's the bit that people forget, that we don't want to have rainbows in everybody's faces. We don't want everybody kind of donning anything, but we just want to be respected as part of that community and part of the identity, and that is down to the supporters of this club to represent Huddersfield. Like the staff, and I think Huddersfield Town are amazing, but it is down to the people of Huddersfield to come out and say, like, we're here, and we're proud to be here, and we're proud to be a town. So yeah, I think it's really important that the supporters come out, allies and supporters, for every kind of diversity, and not just for kind of LGBT plus kind of identities, but we show up for each other and we have that strong community, because that will come out on the pitch. That's ultimately what we all want, right? We all want results on the pitch, and the more we can kind of show up and fill this stadium with people that represent Huddersfield, the better that'll be.
Well, that's absolutely amazing, and if I think it would be great, if to take people, for people to take you up on your very generous offer to contact you directly. Because you speak so eloquently about your experiences and what Pride and Proud About Town mean to you, in a way that myself as an ally probably can't do quite as well. But I think it's really important that both of us are here today, and making ourselves available to anybody who maybe doesn't even know that we have a Proud About Town group, or that the club takes LGBTQ plus inclusion seriously. So really grateful that you've given up your time to join us today, Lydia.
No worries. No, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.